That's great because the whole concept topic right now is the body.
Oh,
Something we never talk about. No, obviously her body was already clued in to what was happening. So we talk about this a lot, that there's a lot out there in the world in the vein of what we're doing.
yeah.
There's a lot that's misconstrued.
Yep.
There's also a lot that is in alignment or the same kind of teachings, coaching, messaging that we do.
Yeah.
You've learned from experts, you have your own expertise. And so the thing that I want to talk about today is like what pulls your expertise together, which is your genius to say, hold on, I've learned all of these things, but there's one component that people aren't bringing in, the body.
Hmm.
So on one hand, we have the body people, which is, I mean, honestly, we are in a pretty cool time to live. 20 years ago, they were just starting to touch on this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
50 years ago, none. 100 years ago, absolutely not. So, on one hand, we have in our culture body everything, different types of health, different specialties, different avenues, different from being body positive and imaging and all of that to actually understanding your body to so on and so forth. Then there's also over here the mental, the consciousness, like manifesting is a huge like fad thing right now, right? Um, Creating what you want, not not falling into the norms of what the generation before us did. That's all like common speak these days. And then something that you saw was like, well, why are these not being intertwined? And I've heard you speak over the years, obviously, of these parallels of our experience and how the body is reflecting the exact same thing we're talking about. And so, just in a free flow of why the body matters,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically the things that you saw so clearly, how they reflect our experience
Hmm.
in physical form.
I think I think that I want to frame this all up around power. And where are you putting the power?
Hmm.
Because the body is a very useful tool in service to creating, but it's a razor's edge thing again. It's a tightrope situation where it's like, but it isn't a condition either, right? And so the body, if if we're talking about having a human experience and creating as a human, it's like insane to me that the body is included in that. But you see, the body has been defined into oblivion, just like the rest of our existence. And so when we're talking about being empowered and owning our power, one of the primary ways that you do that to make actual choice in your life, not reactive choice, but actual choice, you do that by acknowledging and being with the reactions that you're having,
Hmm.
not by giving them power in the sense that it's like, I have to do this before I can do this. But if you don't actually allow for the emotional experience that you're resisting, then you never shift your power to what you're actually capable of, your superhero abilities.
Yeah.
And so the body becomes a tool for many things. One is used, or how we use it in our work, is we use it to gain awareness, to gain the ability to be aware, to hold our attention, to contrast different lived experiences, to be able to hold multitudes and focus on what we want to choose. focus on what we want, just focus, just choosing where we put our attention. So much of that skill is lost right now in today's culture. Holding your attention on anything is like, it's like what's recommended now. It's like you capture somebody's attention reel in 3 to 4 seconds. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like flash my boobs? Like, like, oh my God. It's like, really? I don't, I say no, thank you, which my daughter's starting to go, no. And I was like, oh, I do that. I do that.
Just a direct reflection of you.
No, no, no. Well, thank you. I say no. I say we need to cultivate our ability to hold our attention. If you want to create anything, you have to do that. So we use the body to be able to hold our attention somewhere. That's one way that we use the body. Another way that we use the body is to gain awareness about what is going on in our consciousness.
Right.
Because as soon as you learn to bring your attention to yourself, when you reclaim your power from all of the external concerns and whatever, and you can become witness to your mind, you can become witness to your emotional experience. You do that. One of the best ways of doing that I've discovered in my decades of seeking and practicing and doing things is by just coming to the present moment of your body. And that's the skill. That's the skill set of accepting what's going on with you, is to be able to be right now. Just bring your attention to right now and be like, yes, I'm upset. Yes, this is what I want to do about it. Yes, I'm having a doomsday spiral in my head. But when you notice, when you cultivate that ability, which you cultivate through the body, you cultivate through staying here. Your body is now. Your body is in the present moment of the timeline of past and future. Depending on where you put your attention, you bring those things into your body. Mm-hmm. You think about not being able to pay that bill in 6 weeks from now. You put your attention on that, your body experiences the anxiety. It brings that into the present moment. Mm-hmm. That's because of where your attention is. If you bring your attention to your body, which is now, your body's like, oh, thank you. I have so much more to share with you than all of this madness you have sprinkled around everywhere. So that's the second way. One way is to just train your ability to hold your attention. The other is to be able to become aware of what's going on in your consciousness, because your consciousness, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your desires, your passions, they all live in here. You have access to them all by just connecting into your body. We talk about having a heart. Mm-hmm. That is the central part of our bodies. It is the literal thing that our bodies cannot survive without. I mean, we need breath, lungs, and heart. When you run out of air, it's because your heart starves. Right? And so it's like, you think about it. You can be brain dead. That's a clinical term. You're comatose, you're brain dead, you don't have any functioning here. You're still alive.
Right.
It's keeping you alive, your heart. Right. So the other way that we use the body is metaphorically, to learn about consciousness, to learn about the importance, the hierarchy of focus, the whatever. It's like, what's most important? And we can look at that through our body. The other thing our body teaches us is our wholeness. So there's all of these metaphors also wrapped into the actual functioning of our body. And so we use the body in that way as the teaching map, as the way of understanding how things work, not how things are, because we make that up in our consciousness. We make that up through our programming. Not how things are, but how things work is described through the body, is described when you actually observe the body in its obviousness and you don't relate to it through the definitions of biomechanics or disease or whatever. So those are three of the ways that we use the body. Another way that we use the body is guidance, is divination. The body will be moved by spirit. It can be. If you train enough to embody fully your witness state, you can receive so much information and be guided through presence to to serve you in satisfaction and harmony through all of the levels of your human experience. If that's just physical, if you just want to tune into your fascial network and achieve some sort of comfort and ease and pain or whatever in your body, you can do that. If you want to receive the truth of who you are and have your cells like charged up with profound magic and possibility, you can do that too. You can literally bend all of the rules of existence if you commit yourself enough. But that's, we don't want to get too woo woo because people, have their beliefs or whatever. I've personally, like, I've been told in my lifetime, like, I couldn't use my arm because I dislocated it so many times. And the only way that I'd have any function based off of the medical science and how things are, and this is the way it is, and this is how it works, that I'd have to have surgery. And then I'd, get back 70% of my function. I still couldn't do, the things that I really want to do with my arm. And I said, what did I say? I said, no, thank you. I said, you ain't the boss of me. You don't know what I can do. And then I healed my shoulder through sounding, through literally connecting my voice to the vibrational frequency of the harmonics of my tissue so that they could reorganize in a way. Because part of the thing that was keeping my shoulder limited was my belief and how that injury served my belief about who I am and what I'm capable of.
I mean, when I met you, I couldn't stand up in the morning.
Exactly.
I couldn't stand straight up. So much back pain. The other thing I was thinking about too that came in was the breathing thing when when I first was working with you. It's like what I believed about where breath could reach in my body versus now when I'm having pain in my hip, I literally breathe into it and I can feel the breath in my hip. And it's like, it used to just be rib cage up. I couldn't even think about breathing into my belly, which is a normal thing a lot of people do. And then like, I remember the wild feeling I got when I breathed into my lower back for the first time. Like the amount of relief that gave me, I was like, how far can it go?
Yeah. Yeah, I've moved all the way down into my knees.
Yeah.
Um, no, but you bring up an example of gaining awareness and the parallel between what's expressed in your body and what conditioning you have in your consciousness. There's there's a direct correlation. It's assumption, right? You had an assumption that was literally shaping the landscape of possibility in your body.
Mhm.
Literally, you were only breathing into your chest and ribs. That's it.
My spine wasn't curved.
No, it was not good. It was bad, bad, not good. and and that's why we use the body, is because you get a twofold benefit. You now function better physically, and that translates into what you become aware of in your consciousness as well. It's like either you do the work in one and the other one changes, you do the work in one and the other one changes. It's a really miraculous thing, and there's just so much potential for it.
Yeah.
Also, it's like like teaching this class I teach weekly, right? It's like the third class of this one participant, she, after a particular exercise, which was very basic, it was just awareness, suggestion, and a reframing of how the body actually works. And in doing that, she returned back to the call with like tears in her eyes, saying she had moved without pain for the first time in 20 years.
So cool.
And then it's maintaining those things. And the thing the body also teaches us is that practice is what makes a difference. You don't get to access the relief of breathing into your lower back if you don't practice doing it and pattern it into you as something that you can just turn to immediately.
Right.
If you do it once, you're like, oh, it's amazing. You don't get the benefit of it if you don't continue to practice it.
Which is a concept everyone should understand of the body because same thing like going to the gym. You can't just lift up a dumbbell one time and then you have a muscle and it stays. Like
Mhm.
you have to flex these muscles. And so even like new movement in your body, because your body remembers.
Yep. Yeah. Another caveat to that, right, is this is awareness part, is like in order to access the new patterns, you have to let the old patterns go. The force transmission in your body will not travel in another pattern unless you consciously take that pattern offline.
Mm.
And that is also true in your consciousness,
Hmm.
right? And we do that through the acknowledging, right? We acknowledge, we're like, yes, right now I want to be passive aggressive and I want to withdraw my love from this person and I want to go isolate. Yes, I want to do that, but I know what outcome that creates. Just like using my shoulder in the same way that
Yeah.
creates a dislocation, I know the outcome that that creates. So I'm going to say, yes, I know that. I'm going to choose a different pathway,
Yeah.
one that's given to me by my superconscious, by my higher genius, by my inner wisdom, whatever name you want to give spirit or God or whatever. That is constantly informing you as well,
Right.
and it's informing you through your body.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side of that too is there's those like remembered patterns that you have to consciously acknowledge I'm not in that situation right now, right? Like your injury too, where you get
Yeah.
scared to use it or let your shoulder have mobility because at one point you didn't have the support of the structure or whatever to do this and it dislocated. I know that's not how it works, but you get my point. And so then you have to, the fear builds up, you stop or you do something different. You have to stop yourself in that moment to say, no, like I'm safe. I feel you reacting based
Yeah.
on something that happened before. And we've both been through that, and like with my knee stuff and your shoulder stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and even just like today in the old story scene that was coming up for me, it was like I felt my body in this like anxiety space because there was like a similar situation that could have created an outcome that has been painful in the past.
Mhm.
And I was like, but I had to stop and I was like, okay, I acknowledge the feeling. I acknowledge you. And then I was like, but what's the reality of where I am right now? These
Mhm.
things are not what you're relating to from the past.
Mhm.
It was like a very deep but simple moment.
Mhm.
So then like let that finish.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me before, he's like, sometimes you just have to tell your body you're safe.
Yeah.
Because your body is still from, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to say the wrong like words, but like from past trauma, your body remembers that and can go into that.
Well, I mean, what you're describing is the thing I was saying is what your body is now, depending on what your attention is on, your body brings that into reality. And so, like, the paradox of that is like that trauma will live in your body too. The body is like, this isn't safe, remember, because XYZ happened and you protected yourself. And you see, the funny thing about acknowledging it is that the body actually needs to complete the emotional expression of whatever that was. And so, like, in a lot of somatic therapy to like resolve trauma and whatever, it's like your boundaries were constantly um,
Push tested.
were ignored. Yeah, were overruled or whatever. And so there's like this actual like pushing somebody away, like establishing, and that can feel terror. Like you can like have terror and whatever come up through your body, and you'd be like, but in this situation right now, I'm safe. I can do this. I'm empowered to do this. And then your body gets to complete an action that
Mm,
you stopped. You see, the resisting of the emotions and emotions drive behavior keep you in a certain state.
mm,
And so, yeah, your body remembers, but you're having the experience because your attention is going on to that.
mm.
And sometimes it's a bit of a chicken and an egg thing, is
Yeah.
it your body needing to complete the action to like move on from that experience that's bringing up and putting your attention on that, whatever it is, it's like this needs attention.
Mhm.
And so address it. But the more you resist things, the more they persist.
What? Who said that?
I
Hmm,
don't
never
know.
heard that before. You've never said that before.
I've never said that. We didn't do an entire performance based
Based
on
on
that.
that.
Yeah. I didn't have it written in front of your face for several hours, anything like that.
One of the things that you say often too is that people forget that the body holds
The brain.
the brain. So trying to keep, consciousness and then physical body health separate
Yeah.
is counterintuitive.
Yeah. 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 I think a part of that too comes from like your true power is formless, right? It's like your infinity is not matter, it's the empty space in between. But we've discovered now with science that that is what our bodies are, that is what all of actual reality is. It's only something like 0.01% matter, the rest of it is just imagination. And so it's depending on where your attention is, what how fixed your reality is. And another interesting thing about the body, which you were saying, is like I know my shoulder's injured, so I'm not going to move it a certain way, and I'm going to whatever, and I'm gonna invest. I'm going to go all in on this storyline, right? It The belief becomes the reality. We can all prove our beliefs. I can prove that moving my shoulder a certain way out of being right will injure me or whatever. You know what I mean? And that happens in the construction of all of our realities as well.
Yeah, like you
Um,
have your shoulder injury, so you don't move it for a long time because it doesn't move that way or I'll get injured.
right.
Because you haven't been moving it and then you have to react real quick to keep yourself from falling or something, then you re-injure it.
Yeah.
You're like, see, it doesn't move that way, but it's only because you weren't moving it.
Right.
Got fixed.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's another of the many ways that the body teaches us about how consciousness works as well.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Well, on that note, I think we're good for today.
You did it. Remember to like and subscribe, join the channel to learn more about how life works.
Mhm. Visit our website. There's a free guided video you get to practice some of this stuff
It's like
just by
we're
putting in
working
your
on.
email.
Just put
RadicalLoveMovement.com. All
link
right.
in the show notes.
See you later.